Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to welcome everybody here who is assembling and those watching on YouTube via YouTube to the Winchester Zoning Board of Appeals October meeting held here in the Francis P. Hicks Room, Winchester Town Hall, Winstead, Connecticut. Present tonight, I'm Aubrey English, Board Chairman. Present also tonight are members Mary Ann Marino, Ellie Gunn, Paul Mitchell, and Ryan Horvey. And tonight we would also like to welcome our newest alternate member, Mr. Tom Cook. Welcome aboard. We thank you for giving up a night of your month to come and be with us and to help serve your town as well too.
Sure.
So, for those who may not be familiar with the procedures and how we conduct these meetings here, each application will be called accordingly. The applicant will come forward and present their application to the board. The board members will then have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant and/or their representative that may be here as well. After such time, I will then open the meeting to the public forum here, to any members of the public who are be seated in the audience to ask any questions of the applicant. And and just as a procedural matter, I would ask that all comments or questions be directed to the chair, and the chair will then disperse the question to the appropriate person as well too. Once the public forum is closed, the motion will be read into the record. Discussion will be had amongst the board members after the applicant has their final word for their application. And once that is all done, discussion is had amongst the board, a vote will be taken, and you will have the option, or you will have your decision this evening, either yay or nay. So, so with that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Questions, you said if you had questions, you asked the chairman the questions and then you'll
Yes, but yes, in other words, don't speak to the, don't speak, in other words, I don't want there to be, any debate going back and forth between, the applicant, the applicant or the other member of the public as well too. It's more or less a matter of order too. We're not gonna have you guys going back and forth and debating each other. We're the board here, you're presenting the matter before us. I have no problem using this gavel to just basically put order, to keep regular order as well too. So, is there any other questions before we begin? Hearing none, I will go ahead and call up ZBA application, ZBA 2511, variance for 207 Perch Rock Trail. And, okay, go, are you with the application?
I'm a homeowner.
Okay, yeah, if you'd have a seat, and I just would ask if you would just kind of tap that microphone until you see green so we can hear you.
Hit the microphone.
There you go, yeah, right there. Have a seat,
I'm Kathleen Farrell, I'm the homeowner.
Okay, Ms. Farrell. Did you have a comment before we began, or?
No.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and, your name, address for the record, and go ahead and tell us about your application.
Kathleen Farrell, 207 Perch Rock Trail, and I am looking to increase the depth of my deck by, did we say 1 or 2? 2 feet.
Okay. What seems to be the issue that has brought you before us tonight here, for the variance?
It's not, I didn't think when I thought it was gonna be more of a walkway, but after moving into the house, it's really more of an access point for me, so I can't really safely put a chair there. I also have windows that open up, so for example, I do a lot of babysitting for the neighbors' kids, so I have to be careful when they're coming. I have to make sure windows are closed because they're right at the height where they can catch a window. So just to have a little bit more safe, comfortable passage.
Okay,
That's it.
okay. Any members of the board have a question for Ms. Farrell? Any questions?
The egress in and out, is there more than just that entrance?
There's one in the back of the house.
Right.
If you go up to the end of the driveway to the back, you can come in the house that way.
And then the front is on that patio, that deck?
Yes, yeah, there's another entrance in the front. It's kind of a all glass sun kind of an area, so I didn't really think it was gonna be anything more than to just come into the house, but, you know, I like to sit out there, and I really can't even put a chair out there because it's right at the edge of the deck, yeah.
I have one question.
Sure.
When the deck was built, was this the original size of the deck?
No, like I said, it was originally built to be just kind of a walkway, because I didn't really think I'd be sitting out there. I thought it was just gonna be like a transport area, you know, if I have to come in the front of the house. And then, not realizing that the windows that I put in they're pretty sizable windows, they're casement windows.
window, yeah.
And didn't realize that until we almost caught a little one on the corner of their chin, and then, so we keep I say we, it's just me, I keep the windows closed, and then when I realized, oh, this might be kind of a nice place to sit and watch the world go by, I really couldn't move on my chair because I didn't have a lot of wiggle room. It was 36 inches in the beginning, it's just not, like if you get any kind of a decent type chair, and I'm not talking like big, long furniture, I'm talking just 2 chairs on either side.
So the deck is only 4 feet now?
It's
Like
just,
I
yeah.
can't tell from the thing, is it 4 feet
Yeah,
now?
it's-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it was, like I said, it was really more of just a passageway, and then I realized, you know, I'd really rather maybe sit out there. I mean, it's not gonna be big enough to put tables or anything, it's really just, I'm hoping to make it just big enough to put, you know, like an adult-sized chair.
So I guess from our perspective, the hardship in this particular instance is that the design of the deck was too small in the beginning when it was
Yeah.
constructed, and now realizing after
Yeah,
living
and I
there
had
and
had
using
no
it.
railing on it since it was built, and that's the other thing, I wanna get a decision one way or the other so that I can either,
So you can finish it out.
yeah, cause so right now, like, I really get nervous if anyone's even coming up and down because
Yeah.
there's no railing on it, so.
So the hardship of it is that it was designed too small in the beginning, basically.
Correct, that was me.
Yeah,
There's,
no, I understand.
There's and I'm just looking here, does the deck go to like an entrance to your house as well too?
It's the front.
To the front,
Yeah,
that's
it's the
entrance there?
front, yeah.
So in other words, let me just ask a question. Say, for example, you had an emergency situation and an ambulance needed to get a stretcher up there. Would there
They'd be smart to go in the back
it
because
would be-
they probably,
At this point in time, would there be a difficulty, so it'd be kind of a safety issue?
it would be hard. They wouldn't really, I don't think they'd be able to turn it enough to get it in. They would probably have to be very creative or go around the back.
But that's in the condition the deck's in now.
Yeah, it'd
Because
just be tough.
If it was enlarged or something, would this eliminate the problem too?
Yeah, if I left it the way it is now with no railing,
Yeah.
they could maybe extend the gurney over to like turn it into the house, but if you didn't approve it and I put a railing up, they'd have to go in the back of the house.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I can show you a picture, everyone, I submitted some, but I have some on my phone if that helps you visualize it. No.
Anyone need to see a picture or?
No, I drove by it.
Okay.
So currently, there's a step up, right? Or a
There's
couple of
stairway
steps?
up and you turn around and go into the front, I
Yeah,
submitted
that's
the
getting
picture.
eliminated, right?
Well,
I don't know if
well,
you brought it.
yeah, I'm just
Oh, do you
asking
want me
because
to
I
bring
want to
pic- oh, okay.
understand where the steps will go once it's
Steps are,
extended.
on the side of the deck, so you walk up and you turn around and you go up, turn around, and then go into the house.
Okay, so the stairs will remain where they are.
The stairs will remain where they are, the front of it's gonna come out.
Extend out.
Yeah.
Got it.
Do we have any, oh, go ahead.
I just have one question. Is this becoming more conforming or less conforming, the addition of the deck to the current rules? Becoming less conforming?
This addition,
I know it's minor, but the deck,
so the addition of the deck, which she's
Yes.
asking for, is becoming less conforming.
Less conforming.
Less conforming.
She's getting closer to her front property line.
Which is 9.9, is what the.
Correct, she already had a variance originally for the 11.9, and now it's gonna be 9.9 to the front property line.
and the reason for the variance is safety, or just, I'm just asking too, is the reason?
That's part of it, yeah.
The reason for
Can't
the
really
variance
open-
is safety, and the previous design doesn't meet your needs particularly.
It doesn't meet the needs because it's not safe right now, like without a railing. It wouldn't be safe for little ones or even as I age in place. It would probably not be something that I would be comfortable using. That extra foot just gives you enough to have like just a decent sized chair without worrying about going over the edge or even hitting a railing if a railing were to be put up. I just haven't put a railing up yet because I had a feeling I'd probably have to ask for a variance.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any more questions from the board?
It does not impede public safety in any way from anybody that's being closer to the road or anything like that?
No, it's actually, when you look at it, like, it's 9 feet 9 inches from the true property line, but there's probably another 15 feet of natural earth from the road not being in the same spot it was
Yeah.
originally. So, not that that means that you can build closer to the physical street, but when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's 9 feet from the road, you know?
Yeah,
It looks further,
Right.
yeah.
yeah. Because it's not 9 feet to the side of the road, it's 9 feet to the setback line.
When was the original variance approved?
That was in, 2023. January 2023.
I think I seem to recall that now. Was back at that time, if this is the same, if this is the same variance that I recall here too, wasn't the time the porch very, or the deck at the time with the walkway very rotted out?
Oh, that was, yeah, it was, you couldn't even, it was just falling apart. They didn't use pressure-treated wood. It was, yeah, you couldn't even use that.
I recall that
Yeah.
now, because I asked that same question.
And
about
it was
the-
also like this, they didn't build the stairs to code. I don't know who did it, but it was, the pitch wasn't right. It was,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I have a question for the board. Do we need to show on this, like others do, like an architectural drawing showing safety guardrails and handrails and footings and things like that, or is this
I
just?
mean, I think that's a building official,
Okay,
you know, when she pulls her permits, the building official will make sure that's all to code.
okay, they'll have to make sure that it's the code, okay.
Any other?
Yeah, that's what I was driving at with my question about when it was approved, because she got a permit to put it in as is with the windows as they are, and somehow that was deemed to be the code?
Well, this was before my time, so.
Right.
But what it was deemed to be code.
Well, I'm just, because now we're talking about it being a safety issue, but it's a safety issue caused by,
I think it's more of a safety issue when you look at actual space to maneuver if there was an emergency.
well, right, but that's not what I'm driving at. What
Oh.
I'm driving at is that this project was approved and it was built, and it wasn't called out as a safety issue at the time.
The deck part was called out as a safety issue, because I don't remember who it was, but one of the gentlemen on the board brought up the point you brought up, and I don't recall who it was, but said that this would be a safety issue if there were an emergency and.
That would have been me.
It would have been you, yeah. So we didn't, I don't believe we took the windows into consideration at that point in time. It was really more the access, the physical walking access path. That was the only thing that was.
Yeah, the issue was back, if I recall there too, that it's just the deck itself was so rotted out, it was so unsafe to walk on there.
Yeah.
And if you needed to get like a stretcher, or if like a fire crew needed, or anything, any other public safety entity needed access, immediate access, it would be a safety issue as well for them as well.
Right, but it sounds like the current safety issue isn't that it's rotting, it's that the windows, when open, make it impossible for someone to walk around them
They
without
don't make it
falling off.
impossible, they make it cautionary. So the extra foot would allow for the windows to be open and not have to really worry about maneuvering around a window.
So that current depth is 4 feet now,
Yeah, you can open the windows.
but that area is 4 feet deep.
Correct.
And you're adding a foot to it.
2 feet,
making it
2
2
feet.
feet? So it's gonna be 6 feet wide, which is a lot more stable in my mind.
Right. I guess I'm just trying to understand how it got approved and built in a way.
That was then.
I don't think we're
So I
kind
guess,
of.
I guess
I
the hard
understand
ship is
what
the
you're
design.
saying.
We're discussing like right, no. Yeah.
May I- oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So the hardship is in fact self-inflicted by design of the deck. Yes, so that is the hardship, and we need to decide whether that is acceptable to grant the variance, if that makes sense to everybody else on the board. and it doesn't impose like a safety or public hazard or anything like that.
And just to clarify too, you're looking at just extending the boards, you're not even adding concrete piers or anything, you're just modifying what you already built?
No, what I am gonna do, cause, my contractor, Sean Kinsman, he's local, so, we'll probably, since you're gonna have to sister joist up to like 2 feet. For me personally, I know you can use the existing Techno posts. I personally would feel more comfortable. I mean, they're $200 a pop. I'd feel more
He's
comfortable.
doing the drill?
No, I'm gonna hire Techno Post to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the original.
But
Um,
you're not pouring concrete or?
No,
you're
no,
not-
no, that's the whole purpose of
Digging
Techno
it.
Post. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no other structure, no.
All right. Any further questions? This time I'll open the hearing to many members of the public who wish to ask any questions of the applicant or wish to offer any comment in favor or in opposition. Any members of the public? Any members of the public? Last and final call, any members of the public who wish to speak to this application? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing portion of this hearing, and Ms. Farrell, I'll go ahead and give you the last word.
That's gonna depend on what you say. My last word could go either way.
In other words, I'm inviting you, if you have any final thoughts you wish to have this board to consider
No,
as
we
far as
beat this horse
application.
to death, we know, yeah. It's just up to you now, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you, ma'am, and I'll go ahead and close the hearing, and I will go ahead and read the following motion into the record. Motion to grant variances per section 3D 5C of the zoning regulations for application ZBA 2511. Add additional 2 feet of decking with the following request for variance. Front yard variance of 40.1 feet from existing 11.9 foot setback to a proposed 9.9 foot setback. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Do we have any discussion? Discussion? If hearing no discussion, I'll go ahead and call for a vote of the full sitting members here. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, it's 3-2. Unfortunately, Ms. Farrell, and one thing I did forget to bring up at the beginning of the meeting here, the application has to have 4 affirmative votes to pass. And with this still being a 3-2 majority there, did not have the 4 votes to pass, so unfortunately, we cannot approve the application at this time.
Can I ask why, what are you two opposing?
Well,
No, these two, I was just curious,
well,
oh.
once the hearing is closed, we can't have any further discussion on that too. I mean, you can feel free to come come before us again here if you have any revisions or to,
But how do we know what to revise if we don't know why it's being turned down?
well, like I say, I would say, look, we can get, yeah, I don't think we can have,
We don't have to do it now,
discussion.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious, I don't know what to fix if I don't know why it's being turned down. So is there a forum, is there an opportunity at some, outside of this forum, so, We
It's
know-
something we can have a
Yeah, 'cause I don't
conversation
know
in
what
our
to
office.
fix.
Yeah, well, you can discuss it here in the building office as well too. I mean, once the hearing is closed there, we can't have any further discussion on that there.
okay,
But yeah, you feel free to talk with Shane in the building office and go over, options for us going for the future.
okay. So you'll survey these two and find out what the,
No, we can have a discussion, you, me, Jeff, and in the land use office.
but they're the ones that said no.
Yep.
But it's a variance, so
Right.
there's got to be something that they could advise you how to approach this in another variance type way. They don't need to justify the answer or their rationale for it. The building committee can help you to try to find another solution to what you want to do.
But if I've done everything the way the town has asked, I can't make things up to do it again.
I'm just explaining how.
No, I
this-
know, I
that's-
just,
that's your-
we
that's
should
your-
be able to have a forum to understand what the concern is, so we can adjudicate the concern. Because I'd be happy to try and adjudicate it, I just don't know what the concerns are of the two folks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll have to just talk with Shane about that as well too, in the building office here. we've closed the hearing, the decision has been made, so,
Okay,
okay.
interesting.
Okay, we are now moving to application number ZBA 25-9, variance for 504 East Wakefield Boulevard. Applicants are please welcome to come forward and take the seat up at the table.
You wanna fill out a sheet before we forget?
Shane, will that be work good?
Yes.
I signed mine. Oh,
Yeah.
I did. I'm sorry about that. I missed it. We need like an easement, everybody. So I'm drafting paper here. Thank you, Ron.
That's why I said the full set.
But
So,
it's fine. Oh, no, no, you're in the wrong area.
Okay, okay. Nice.
Okay. Are we about ready, or are we still?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And I will preface this hearing, and I will just make the following remarks here, that understandably, from the last meeting we had on this issue here too, I understand there's passion on both sides of the issue as well too. I will just remind all persons in the audience to please just direct comments to the chair. We're not going to be arguing back and forth, you know, amongst each other here. We are a sitting board. You're addressing us, okay? We're the decision makers. We're the policy decision makers on this board as well too, okay? So all comments, please make before us. And if I also see that points are just continuing to be made and remade one way or the other, I will have no problem just saying, let's get to the point here, because we were here for 2 hours last time on this one issue here as well too. So I have no problem, like I say, just speak state your case, but we should do it in a more timely manner. And that's all I will say as far as that goes. You may go ahead, sir.
I'm Sean Stanziel, 504 East Wakefield Boulevard.
Kyle Case, professional engineer on the project for KCC Consulting.
Excuse me, could you speak
Oh,
up?
yeah,
I have a hard time hearing you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Kyle Case, professional engineer for the project, KCC Consulting.
Our proposal is to remove our garage and attach it to the home. Previously, we went in front of the ZBA and inland wetlands. We listened to everyone's concerns, and we met with Jeremy, Jeff, and Shane and under all their advisement, we made some changes to our property. Each aspect of this project has improved the situation. We are now, there's a non-conforming garage that we are removing and attaching it to our house. We're improving the distance from the property line from each neighbor on the north and south side. We've improved the impervious surface, and we feel that the project now meets all the requirements per the letter that Jeremy had sent the board for the Adelson revision plan. So, the project previously had an approval in 2022 that met all the requirements of the variance as well, and special exception. Is there any questions that anyone has?
I'll let this, does that conclude your initial presentation?
Yeah, the engineer.
Mr. Case, did you want to add on to that?
I'll take you through what we're proposing to
Okay.
do in a more detailed manner. So up on the screen now is the existing condition here. So we have the existing garage, existing house, existing driveway, existing shed. That's pretty much the only thing, that really is the only thing that's gonna stay. The shed's gonna stay in the same location, as will the existing well, which is down by the garage, and the existing sewer grinder pump. So it gives you a feel for existing conditions. And this is our new proposal. So previously, we had the garage in line with this corner of the house. We've shifted it further to keep it further away from the property line than it currently is in its current position. The southern side of the property, we've also shrunk the entire the structure has shrunken to move that further away from the property. And all these setbacks that we were trying to meet were from the previously approved variance application in application 21-5261. So to go through the zoning table here, the existing lot is 13,100 square feet, and that's not gonna change. The lot width's 50, that's remaining consistent. The front yard is gonna, since we're removing the garage, it's gonna grow from 67 to 111.7 feet. The minimum side yards currently approved under the previous variance was 2.1 feet from the north side and 9 feet from the south side. And we've adjusted, those have become less non-conforming by a half a foot on the north side and almost 3.5 feet on the southern side. The rear yard setback was previously granted to be 31 feet, and we're 32.2 feet to the deck and over 40 feet to the house structure. The building height is approximately gonna be 26 feet plus or minus, based on the average height from the walkout basement to the average roof height, which is slightly higher than what the previous approval approved. The house plans that weren't non-conforming at that point either, still isn't. The impervious coverage, so you're granted 15%. The previous approval, they had LID measures, which we're also gonna incorporate, and I can walk you through that in a minute, was 35%, and this one comes in at 34.6%, so we're improving that condition as well. And then the accessibility structure is 9 feet, currently 3.1 feet, and proposed to be increased to 3.2 feet, so slightly better, but better. For our impervious surface, we have our infiltration trench down below the stairs to the lower portion of the rear yard. That's gonna take runoff from the house. Then we're also gonna utilize pervious pavers for the walkways down to the lower patio and to the stairs that go up to the deck. So that gets us a little bit of relief from the runoff. And lastly, like the driveway currently just runs down along the house. If we were to look at the existing plan, I can bring it back there. The way it's graded, it all runs down and then just all runs right down into the lake. The proposed driveway is to be graded away from the north to the south at 1%, and it's gonna, all that, it's not a structural improvement technique. There's no, you're not building anything for it, but the stormwater manual allows you to use sheet flow, which is just water draining off a hard surface onto a lawn surface, which is what we're gonna have here. So it's called a non-structural, low impact development technique. So that's what we're utilizing for a lot of the driveway runoff. It'll be able to filter through the grass down, and then we have stone, riprap stone slopes on each side, but that'll also capture more of the contaminants as it makes its way down towards the lake. And then here's our comparison of the impervious surface showing what's staying and what's going. So the lake wall is staying, it's just being altered as to where the stairs are. The shed is staying. The big reduction comes from the driveway. You're reducing that by a considerable amount, 33% or so. The existing walkways and patios are also a slight reduction. The house is growing, but not by as much as it seems, because the garage is being attached to it. So that increases, but the net is a decrease from existing and prior approvals. This is our erosion and sediment control plan, just showing how we're gonna handle the runoff during the course of the project. We have our construction access temporary stockpile. We have our erosion control matting and temporary seeding and straw wattle check dams. And this just brings you through our ENS standards, control narrative, and then the details for ENS. And these are the typical details for the project. Here's our permeable paver detail, which is sized for the 1.3 inches of rain runoff that the stormwater quality manual dictates. And here's an elevation of the house, just showing what the view from the lake will look like with the retaining wall. And then, so we also have, since I mentioned the prior approval, that's what I've put together here is a compilation of the two projects. So in red will be what was previously granted for the variance under 21-205261, and the black indicates what we're proposing this time. So if we zoom in on the house, we can see that the house is within the footprint of the prior approval. The wood deck in the rear is essentially the same size. There is no more wood deck on the southern side of the structure, and the covered porch is being reduced, and the garage is being shifted essentially straight back parallel with the northern property line to maintain a setback further than what is currently there. And then it shows what the previous driveway looks like over in this area, which is also a benefit for safety concerns with the driveway pulling in and out of the driveway. You have a better sight line at this point with the new proposed driveway layout. Oops. And then this was the previous engineer's site plan. Yeah. So that's what we're proposing, and if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer anything.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
This proposal was previously approved? The proposal you're proposing right now?
No, so there was a prior approval that granted approval for the house to be expanded. There was a proposed addition. The garage was gonna stay where it was under the prior approvals.
So the only change is moving the garage forward, and you're not going closer to the adjoining neighbors?
Correct.
You're going, I just wanna make sure I understand correctly. So you're moving the garage to the front, you're not going any closer, and the previous, plan that you submitted had the garage over towards that jog.
Right.
If you put the mouse over there.
Prior plan we submitted, the garage was, I think, 8.7 feet from the property line.
And now it's moving away
Now it's
from the
moving
adjoining.
away from the
neighbor. And the garage is basically the same size, you're reducing everything.
So the garage actually got reduced as well. We shrunk the depth of the garage by a couple feet. So instead of coming out further, it got scrunched down from, I think it was 22 feet to like 19 and a half feet.
And the hardship is you can pull in your garage, walk in your house, not pull in your garage, have to park your car, walk through a dark or whatever pathway.
I don't know if that's the hardship, not to interrupt you, though. That's one of the benefits of it, right? I think the hardship was the lay of the land itself, the ledge, I think we talked last time about the differences in heights, and I think you, Marion, actually asked them to move the garage over, and one of the concerns was what that did to how much they had to blast.
Yeah, it's unique to that parcel. So the hardship is unique to this parcel, not to the zone.
Right.
So they have, there's a legitimate hardship that is unique to this parcel. They have a lot of ledge on that side. They're trying to work around it. They have a garage that's close to the road. They're trying to use the garage for safety. As you get older, you want to walk it through your car to your house, for things like that. I just want to be on the same page, everybody. That's just by our current definitions, and they're reducing the impervious coverage.
Did the board receive the letter from Jeremy? that we have-
Yes,
May I ask a question?
absolutely.
Will the garage stay 20.67 feet as was previously approved,
So the garage is gonna, let me open that.
in terms of its height?
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, there is no change to the height of the garage from the previous meeting, the structure.
I didn't get that answer.
Oh,
Could you repeat that answer?
There has been no change to the
The
size of the structure
Okay.
for height
I
from
just-
the last time that we met.
Okay.
It shifted over roughly 5 feet away
Yeah, so
from the
this-
Pollock's property.
This garage
I saw it
Yeah.
earlier, that in the previous plans, it was
Yeah,
approved
so-
at 20.67 feet high.
I think that was the existing garage they have there today.
No, that was he was showing us the chart of what was
Yeah.
But that garage
approved.
doesn't change. That garage is there now.
Right, that's not what I'm asking, though. What I'm asking is the height the same as what was approved in the last application that was approved, which was the chart that we were being shown earlier?
Yes, it is. It's the
Okay.
same.
And then the other question I have is, you've reduced the depth of the garage, but it looks like you've expanded the width of the garage?
No, the garage stayed the same width.
It just shrunk, and the reason for that is to meet all the requirements,
So
not to touch
here's-
the
here's-
well
yeah,
or
so here's a
the,
markup of
um,
what the proposed
waste
changes to the
master.
floor plan were. So we shrunk it from 23 to 20'10", and then just shifted it 6 feet.
So
to the south.
23 is the width of the existing garage?
23 is the width of the existing garage, that stayed the same, and then the depth of it was also 23, and that got reduced by 2
Gotcha.
feet,
Okay, thanks.
almost 3 feet.
And the height of the house meets all the requirements now.
Yeah.
we feel we met every requirement the board had asked it, and meeting with Jeremy and Shane and Jeff.
The addition does not go any closer to the adjoining neighbor in any part of it.
Further away.
It goes further away.
Yeah.
So this project goes further away from the adjoining neighbor,
Yeah, so he was
Yeah,
14.6.
both neighbors.
Both
sides.
neighbors.
It
This
goes-
is,
on both sides.
Mr. Spezialy, did you want to add to
I
that?
was just gonna say, the well doesn't have to move.
I'm sorry?
The well doesn't have to move, that was,
The requirement,
yeah,
the concern
I didn't know
was,
if that got through.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Right, and it looks like the grinder pump stays where it is
Yeah,
now,
it
too.
does.
Yeah.
And better water conservation too, from the looks of it.
Yeah, we improved that, we took more thought into that with the permeable pavers for the sidewalks, and still keeping that infiltration trench plus the runoff from the driveway being directed to just kind of spread out over the lawn area.
And Mr. Cook, if, like, I should also mention this to you, as an alternate member too, you feel free to chime in as far as the discussion on the initial questions and whatnot. Just when the time comes for discussion on, once the motion's been made and discussed, if you're not being seated at that moment as a full member or anything, the discussion will just be amongst the voting members as well, too. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please, at the moment, please feel free to chime in as well, too. Do we have any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none at this time.
May I add one more thing?
Please do.
I really appreciate the board at great expense. I've $30,000 into this at this point, and time and meeting the town's requirements. One request that I may ask is that I have to spend the money on my engineers. Actually, the town, I have to hire an engineer to represent the town, soil scientists at the request of inland wetlands, and any concerns that the public has, I would ask the board consider, if they're not drawn up by an engineer, I have to present everything. I couldn't come to the board with hand-drawn, and any concern that my engineer that anyone has of my engineer, that it is another engineer stating that is the only request that I have, because I feel like I need to come with professional drawings, that anyone that comes in and questions it, I don't believe it's right to question a surveyor and engineer that are professionals at their job, and that would be one of my requests.
We welcome all the representation you have by the engineers and surveyors and the professional expertise or knowledge that helps add to your case as well, too. Everything, but like I say, everything that is presented before us, we take under advisement there, too. But again, we have all respect and all respect towards and appreciation for all those who come before us. You know, I understand this costs a great deal of money as well, too. Completely, this does not escape our attention as well, too. So,
May I add something to that? Is that okay?
Go ahead.
To answer you, I guess just in the spirit of a public hearing, that the public can, you know, speak. However, you know, since you did do all these you know, measures, that is a, you know, and hiring a professional engineer, that is a professional benchmark that, just speaking for myself as a board member, I will look at over just a concern that's maybe not like a non-tangible concern, where if that's just from my perspective of it.
Thank you.
anything further before we open up the public hearing? Okay,
For time.
we'll give the opportunity at the end here if you have any
Thank
further remarks, okay? At this time, if there's no further questions from the board, I will go ahead and open the public comment forum of this meeting, of this hearing. If any members of the public has any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to address them before this board. Please address them, questions and comments to the board. And again, like I say, we will try to get your questions answered as best as possible, but we must observe regular order here. So any members of the public who wish to speak to this application? I see 3 hands. I saw one, that hand go up first. Please identify yourself, your name, address.
John Pollock, I'm the next door neighbor.
Your address, please.
502 East Wakefield Boulevard.
Thank you, sir. You have a question or comment?
I have a presentation.
Okay. If all 3 of you are together, right?
Yes.
You go ahead, come up and make your presentation.
Mr. Stanzielli explained that it's costing him a lot of money. I just want to put it on the record. I have an attorney now, and I've been paying thousands of dollars also. So I just want to make it known that the monetary hardship just doesn't fall on him. It also falls on me. I'm a retired individual, and he works full-time, so I just wanted to make that point. Maybe I'll put this down for now. I have a couple of surveys that I wanted to show up here, but before I start, I had something written up. bit surprised to hear about how much the town of Winston tries to help all the applicants get what they want. And I can see that to some degree, but it seems like they're bending over backwards a little bit. So before I start, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, when I spoke to my attorney this afternoon, he mentioned that for the record I should state this.
So this is for the record.
First of all, Mr. Stanziali mentioned that he's relying on the Adolphison case versus the ZBA in the town of Fairfield. That case has absolutely nothing to do with variances. It was a case that was related to a use variance and has no bearing on this application. What it was a factory that was an aluminum factory. It was closed in Fairfield, Connecticut, and then afterwards an auto repair shop moved into that. These are commercial businesses. They're not residential. Relying on the Adolphison case has nothing to do with this case.
And the reason is because, like, just to repeat it, it's not a land variance, it's a use variance.
Use
So
variance,
it's more related
different.
to the manufacturing or whatever the problem is. So that's coming from somebody that is very familiar
A
with
land use attorney, not
state
just.
law.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay.
And then also, two of the judges in that case disagreed completely with the findings.
Okay, please proceed.
Plus, it's almost 40 years old, and it's not on point.
All right. Also, there is no hardship here. Mr. Stanziali and his family were granted an approval, I think it was in 2021, to build a 3-bedroom house, which was a large house. He was allowed to put an addition on his garage and put a second floor on there. And he just keeps coming back and he wants something larger and larger and larger. And it is not the same footprint. So again, there is no hardship here. Therefore, this variance should not be approved. And also, I'm requesting, I know it's not gonna happen, but I'm requesting that the Zoning Board of Appeals does not hear this variance request tonight for application 25-12, as it is very similar to the August application, the 25-10, that we heard 2 months ago, and that was denied.
And just to back that up a little, the CGS state law specifically says, and this is probably, the variances are to be granted very sparingly and only to the minimum extent necessary to allow the property owner to be, the property to be used for the least intense use.
Okay, let me, if I may have you pause for just a second. The application, I understand that you did requesting that this application not be heard. The application has started to be heard, so that is denied. And secondly, he does have, if an application was rejected, he does have a right to come back and make any other changes to as far as.
But it's very similar.
But he doesn't have a hardship.
Okay, but that's what this hearing is
Okay.
for, and this is why we are hearing this
I
application.
just wanted to put my comments in for public record.
Okay,
That's for the public record.
okay, thank
I
you.
want that for the public record.
May I ask a question, please?
Well,
Real quick one.
Yes.
You mentioned a change of use. What's the change of use? It's a residential property.
Okay, it's a very good question. Okay, the Adolphison case had to do with the industrial section in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Yeah, no, but we're talking about residential housing. What's the change of use?
Right, that's just it. It's, this
There's
is.
no
that-
change.
There is no
that
change.
There's no
variance is
change of use,
related
that's all
to
I'm
the-
asking. There's no change
Adolphison
of
has
use.
How
nothing
it's
to do
being
with
used.
this case.
I don't even know anything about that. I'm asking, what's the change of use in this instance? It's a residential
There is
house?
not.
That's not what he
There
was
is
saying.
not. I'm not
saying
We're
that.
not saying that really, to be.
I'm saying that there, he was relying, his first opening statement was that he wants to use the Adolphison case, and my ears perked up when he said that. And when I spoke to my attorney this afternoon, he mentioned to me that does not apply, and I read the case a couple times, and I have a copy of it, and it says that it is for the industrial. And it was in a factory that made aluminum, and they went out of business, and then somebody decided to buy the property, and they took the property over and they put it
Went
as an
into
auto
another.
repair business. And it was less non-conforming, and then the judge allowed it as a variance change.
I don't know if you may be getting it, and I don't want to be rude if you're not
But it has
understanding
nothing to
it,
do
but
with residential.
what our understanding is, after having been explained to us, is that this it doesn't have any bearing on this variance because it's called a use variance, like what it's being used for. It is.
It was a
we're not saying that-
manufacturing-
No, I understand. I'm not trying to interrupt you either. I'm just
It
saying-
doesn't compare to his use.
Please, I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm just,
That's what I'm talking about, is reasonable use. And reasonable use is that he should be allowed to have reasonable use of his property.
I
And
understand
he does
that.
have it because he already has a variance.
I'm asking, the applicant is not asking for a change of use. Am I correct in saying that? They're not asking for a change of use. The cases and all that stuff, I know absolutely nothing about. I'm asking the applicant, this application they're not asking for a change of use.
Right, so-
To the current regulations that we follow. They are not asking for a change of use. All the legal stuff, and if he said that, it has no bearing on any of this.
I believe that
He's
the
not saying that.
applicant
I'm
is
not-
using
I
the
don't quite-
Adolphus case as precedent for hardship. He's citing Adolphus as the hardship case in point, and they're saying that Adolphus doesn't pertain because it's commercial versus residential.
And
And
both,
industrial also.
So,
both could be right or wrong. It's like, I understand it's kind of like irrelevant to what we're listening to.
It's not irrelevant. That was the
really,
first thing that he
honestly, it
mentioned.
really isn't irrelevant. And it's
But
not
they're not
because.
asking for a change of use currently. At this meeting, we are not
No.
voting on a change of
So-
use.
So on the letter from Jeff, it lists the Adolphus exception to the hardship requirement.
That is incorrect.
And it's incorrect.
I'm just,
I understand that.
No, it's not on point.
okay, let me finish. The exception to the hardship, and then it lists a series of court hearings that followed the Adolphus case, right? So the very first one is the one you're speaking of, as Adolphus versus Zoning Board of Appeals, Town of Fairfield, which is exactly what you stated. That's where it began. That's 100% accurate. It has nothing to do with what we're seeing today. Follow it further down. There are 13 cases listed here. Neighborhood Association versus Zoning Board of Appeals, Town of Westport. It was used in that to grant a variance for reconstruction of non-conforming house setbacks and coverage based on elimination or reduction of the non-conformities upheld where court found no adverse effect on a comprehensive zoning plan. Excuse me. The next one, Simonson versus Darien Zoning Board. Non-conforming home, less non-conforming. It is used in multiple court hearings, exactly how Jeremy handed this to us. So yes, you are 100% right that it started the way that you're explaining it, but further on in its lifetime, these court hearings all followed the same thing.
I don't agree with that.
That's what it said.
Yes.
I mean, I've got that's,
They don't all, because there's one that.
There's one there.
it's not all of them, they're not all gonna be the same.
But
I
was that
think,
I don't understand,
I think the
what are you
point of
trying to
this
say?
is
I
that
don't get
it's
it.
used in multiple areas, right? It started in one spot and it carried through, and there's a bunch of court hearings that followed the same rulings.
well, if that's what you want to believe.
Well, no,
So that's what it says.
okay,
it's not.
okay, all due respect, whether you agree with it or not, and that's your right
It's
to
not a
agree with
matter
it.
of agreement.
Ma'am, one second, please, okay? This is showing that case law has been followed from the Adolphus case in time over what's going on.
Fine.
You're, okay, I'm gonna have to ask that you continue with your
Thank you.
statement here and
Yes.
continue
Okay,
with this.
let me just continue, and we'll probably address that later on tonight. All right, like I mentioned before, previously he was granted a variance to build the house, and the house that he was granted, it was basically a three-bedroom house, and then he had a second floor on his garage, and I went along with that, and he had that variance for 5 years. Now he's coming back, and he wants to make a much larger house, and he wants to have a deck around it, and it's not the same footprint as what he's telling us. I didn't have all that information available. I asked to get some of the surveys available, and I was told they weren't available, and I come here and I see that they're right on the screen there. I really feel that excuse me, I'm behind the 8 ball here. But anyways, under his new design, his house is basically 64 feet by 52 feet or 30, or over 3,300 square feet with a 1,000-foot deck, and this is not the same footprint. He has less than a third of an acre here in his residence. In Cheshire, Connecticut, he has over 17 acres. That's 51 times the size of the lot that he has here. And he wants to put the same house on that he has in Cheshire up here. Just about the same size house. So basically, if he wanted to do that, he should have bought a much larger piece of property, or he should either consider putting a smaller house on that piece of property. The last time I was here, I was told that this is the way, everybody has a small lot, but that isn't true. My next door neighbor to the north, the other guy on the other side of me, has 130 feet on the lakefront. The neighbor next to him has 93 feet on the lakefront. And then the lady outside of, opposite Wheeler's Point has over 200 feet on the lakefront. And the people on Wheeler's Point have over 80 feet, and most of the 80 feet is on flat land. In this case, 504 has a huge ledge, and it's in the middle of the lot. And I figured that the only size house that he could build, house and deck, would probably be a 40 by 40. And if he kept his garage where it is, everything would work out fine. And he just doesn't have the land to put the large house on that he wants. And the only way he could do it is if he rotates the house 90 degrees, he could go from east to west. A lot of people have done that. Even Mr. Moreno here has done that with his piece of property. So that's one of the things. The other thing was this lot was divided in 1956 by the previous owner, so it became a self-created hardship. He sold the lot, and he sold the lot, and when he sold the lot, there was only a 2-foot property line there, and it was allowed, and according to the regulations, if you have a self-created hardship, you're usually out of luck. In 2020, this piece of property was purchased for $315,000. So if he wanted to, he probably could sell it to someone else, double his money, and possibly look for something else. I'm not saying that that's a suggestion, but I'm saying that he doesn't really have a big financial loss here. What he needs to do is like I mentioned, he could either rotate the house, but I still want at least 12 or 14 feet from my property line. Maybe it would have been a good idea if he came over and talked to me before he comes back with all these plans. I'd like to know, where does the ZBA say that we could allow somebody to build 2 feet away from the property line? We have been living here for 60 years, and we need some type of consideration. We've been taxpayers, and it's not my fault that he did not purchase a large enough land size, or he changed his mind. When he bought the house in 2020, he was happy with it, and then all of a sudden, he comes back and he says, right now, he wants to retire there, and he wants a bigger piece of property and everything else like that. The other thing that I can't understand, and we have never asked him, is how is he gonna build this house? He has a 2-foot property line, 2-foot boundary on the north side, and on the south side, he has maybe like a 12-foot setback, and he's asking his neighbor at 522 to use his property to build on the 504 property line. I've never heard of anything like this. He cannot build it from the top down, so he has to go over to his neighbors, and he has to use his property to bring the equipment over there. What happens if there's some kind of a dispute between the neighbors, or something goes wrong, or they're no longer friends, and he's building his house, and that's the end of it?
Or one of the properties gets sold.
Or somebody gets sold, or somebody dies. He's not gonna live forever. Nobody's gonna live forever. We have to think about people in the future. If this is approved, and if he sells his property, or the person at 522 sells his property, you're gonna have a problem there. And sometimes their friendship just goes south. So when you need your next door neighbor's property line, or excuse me, when you have to use your next door neighbor's property to build your house, this is a flashing red light. There's something really that has to be addressed here. The ZBA should not pit one person against another person. I went down there to see Shane a couple of times, and I knew that she was working, her, Jeremy, and Jeff, and they're all pushing to have this thing passed. This really isn't fair, especially when they don't know our concerns.
May I ask a question? I think that should be admissible or removed from this. I think we should stop that right there.
Yeah, I mean.
We
I
can't
mean,
disparage town employees or talk
They-
about
they-
their
no,
intentions.
Yes, no, there has been no evidence whatsoever, Mr. Pollack, as to, that is brought to my attention, or any board member's attention, that I've been made aware of any impropriety or anything that they've done to sway an applicant one way or another, okay? So that's unfair, and I'm gonna strike that from the record, as far as that as well, too,
Can I
okay?
just ask a question?
No, let me, I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna ask, just, I mean, I understand you got a whole binder, full
I
of
do.
concerns,
And
okay?
it took me a long time to do it.
I understand. We only have so much time as well,
Okay.
on this board as well, too. So please, I'm gonna ask that you please state, get to the point, what is your opposition to this, and let's move on,
Okay.
please.
Okay, sorry. Okay, the opposition is that he was granted a variance, and it's gonna be very detrimental to our property over here. If you refer to the Connecticut General Statute 8-6, it says, in making a decision, the zoning board must consider the public health, the safety, the convenience, the welfare, and the property values. Our property value of that house will drastically drop considerably. You cannot have somebody's house 2 feet away from your property line, and that's not gonna increase your value. That's one of my number one concerns, is that.
Let me quickly address that concern, because
Thank
this is not the first time in a hearing that someone has been concerned about the property values. We're not property assessors, we're the zoning board of appeals, okay? I understand you may have concerns about your property values, you address that with the assessor, okay? Our job is to make sure that the zoning regulations are followed, and
And
any
it says it right here.
Any variance or anything that needs to be made and everything is done by decision of this board, we take it all into consideration.
Aubrey, can I say one thing?
Please.
Is the property going any closer to Mr. Pollock's house? Is the proposed addition moving any closer to Mr. Pollock's property? It's going further away. So
5 inches.
So, but
But that was
but
already
your
before
argument
the
is that that his proposed project is moving closer to your property line, but it's not. It's moving further away. So you keep mentioning that it keeps going 2 feet, 2 feet. It's not 2 feet. And you keep.
Okay, it's 2
you
feet,
keep-
6
I mean, No,
inches
but just let me speak,
Yes,
please.
sure.
Just please, John. You've mentioned several times, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of the grievance, because we don't have till 11 o'clock at night to read through this. I understand.
That's right, exactly.
We
have other
we
things to
don't, and
say.
we're not going to. So what I'm saying is that your grievance is that you're saying that they are trying to move they're trying to move their house closer to yours, to your property line, and they are not. Just so we all understand, they are not moving the property, they're not moving the structure closer to your property line, they're moving it further away.
Excuse me, can I'm sorry, but this is what happened last time, and that's one of the reasons it took a long time.
No.
I mean, there was a lot of questions for us, but not a lot of questions for the applicant.
No, but I'm saying that I'm just trying to get to the heart of the
I know,
grievances here.
that's
The-
true.
The
I
grievance
understand
that
what
you've
you're trying to
mentioned a
do.
couple of times, that he's moving the structure closer to your
I
property line.
didn't say that. I'm saying that it was the same, it's the same variance that we had in August, basically.
Let's take the variances out of it. The house
Except for the fact
is on the same.
Let him finish.
Please, and then you could do whatever you want. So the house, as it is now, is not moving any closer or away. If they don't do this project, the house stays at the same property line as it does now. They're not moving the house. If they do this project, and the additions and the things they're adding are going further away. So no matter what happens tonight, whether whoever, if it gets voted yes or no, the structure stays in the same thing. You don't win or lose anything in that. Just so we're on the same page there. The house, just so everybody understands, the house is not moving closer to your property line.
And Aubrey, may I just suggest something before we move on? I think it's important to establish in a clear way that there is a variance that's been approved, and we're not here to relitigate that. That's already been approved. So we are here only to review the raising of the garage and attaching it to the home. And the adjustments that they have made in order to accommodate that change. Because I'm getting a little confused in listening to the argument, because it sounds like there's a desire to go back to the old variance and relitigate that, but I don't think we can do that
No,
here.
I mean, so again, I mean, our purpose here as a zoning board of appeals is to decide whether each individual application here comes, any variance is approved or not thereto, in conforming with the zoning regulations. But each case is individually discussed as well too. So, I mean,
Case
again,
by
I understand completely, there's plenty of case law, plenty of other instances as well too, and they're on all too, okay? We are discussing right now, just to say, what is the objection do you have to this application here? Just,
Which
That's-
this application is to move the garage and shrink the size of the house farther away from the property line.
yeah.
So that's really the only discussion we should be having is
Right.
whether, if there's any objection to moving the garage. The
What-
rest
what-
of it's already been passed.
Right, that's the point I'm making.
They already have approval for a 2-foot, 1-inch
What
north
is-
side yard.
What is the objection?
So the reason we brought that up is because he has that already, so that means he doesn't have a hardship. And I know you said we don't need a hardship, but we want to, for the record, we want to include that all he's never had a hardship. The house has never met any of the grounds for hardship. There's 8 grounds for hardship. If you'd like me to read them, I'll be happy to do
No.
it. I think you probably know them. They're in our document here.
Can I say something?
Yes.
They're making the house less non-conforming.
No, they're not making it less non-conforming, they're making it less, it's still non-conforming, but
But
it's
they're
just
making it less, they're not making, if they move the addition
5
closer,
inches.
so let's say they move the house, just gonna give an example, closer to your property line, that would be more non-conforming, therefore, that could potentially be a problem. But in this case, they're not, they're making an effort to, do better water mitigation. So the only thing we really should be discussing right now is like, Mary Ann, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Tom, I'm sorry. The garage being moved and attached to the house, and whether they can shrink the house, which they're doing. That's the only thing we should be discussing. All this other stuff and litigating and what we feel and all that stuff should not be discussed right
We're
now.
not talking about what we feel. We're
All right,
talking
could I
about
just
state
go on,
law.
please?
I would, when you go on, you're basically stating, John, bottom line, what is the objection to,
Oh, I would like to show you the survey, please.
does this have,
Does it have to do with the
Go
with
ahead,
the
go ahead.
2.1 foot property line?
It has a lot to do with the 2-foot. Well, yes, it does,
Okay.
if you don't
Well,
mind.
can I, while he's doing that, read some stuff so it's not so,
I'm
Unclear.
going to ask that we just proceed on with,
but that's the things you want, and it's written down here. And I don't, maybe everybody's read it, I hope they have, because it's gotten it,
yeah, we're
but
gonna,
All right, but before,
it would be kind of unfair if you didn't hear a whole argument.
before we go any further, here's a picture of the house that he wants to put up. I measured it with the scale model, and over here.
So, again, John, I don't want to keep,
Yes.
I want to try to save you time to get you to what is impactful, right? So
Okay.
the structure itself,
Okay, the
The
house
square-
over here is 69 feet. We keep saying that this is the same variance, this is the same footprint. It isn't the same footprint. It's 69 feet here, and on the front of the house is basically 58 feet. And then on the side of the house over here, which I can't believe, it's 68 feet
May I say that if something were to change, you know, he hired a professional engineer, and if something were to change off the plan, then I think that would have to be, you know, taken up with the professional engineer. I mean, we can't look at your scale, Joe.
Yes, I know, I measured it with this.
I understand that,
68
but-
feet, and it's 68 feet over here.
I understand,
Okay,
but this is you measuring it versus the
Yes.
professional engineer
Okay, but
and the architect.
Yes, but it doesn't take too much common sense that if the house is 68 feet and.
Common
down-
sense is not so common, John, that's the problem, so that's why
And down by the
people.
water line, the water line is 69 feet, and if you go up like 30 feet, that
I
is
under-
it's
I
a
understand,
triangle
I
and it
understand you did
shrinks.
some field measurements,
Yes.
but that's the job of the professional engineer. If something is different, then you need to take it up with them.
And the dimensions are on the site plan showing that this building is shrinking. They have to follow that.
They have to follow the site plan, that's why they hired a professional engineer.
You're not allowing him to show that.
Well, it's, we're going on, we have a professional survey, we have an engineered print, and engineered drawings. John has the same print that we have, but he's changed the numbers on an engineered drawing to something that he feels are more accurate.
No, that's the only, we did not have any dimensional numbers on the lines, so that's why we had to use.
Well, but we don't need, that's something
You
that's
can't look
outside
at
our
that.
purview, though. We are looking at a plot plan, we are looking at a previous approved variance, and we're looking at a proposed adjustment to what was already approved. So I'm
Yeah.
struggling to see the,
And I'd like to add that if there is any issue with the drawings not matching what was approved, the building department will find that. That is under their purview, not
And
under our
I'm pretty
purview.
sure you have to have a survey done after your foundations in to make sure you're complying with the site plan.
it has, right, you need an as-built and everything once it's completed.
And the surveyor will most likely lay the stakes out for the foundation. So, John, if the foundation is not where it's supposed to be, that will fall under the burden of the surveyor, who did that. It's not the burden on us. We don't lay out the foundation.
And the building
And
department.
the building, like Tom said, when you build a foundation, they need to stake out the foundation, make sure that it matches the print, and then they'll build the house, if this gets approved to be built. Any of us going out with tape measures and stuff is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The professional engineer, the professional survey did this already. That's why it's stamped. That's why it has a professional survey on it. And any of this discussion is irrelevant. We can't, I don't feel it should be
not pertinent.
admissible. It's not, it's,
All right. Oh, the point that I was making is, originally, they had 78 feet on the lakefront property. He went before the inlands wetlands, and he changed it to 69 feet. So there's a big difference there of 8 feet, and the 8 feet is over here, it's like a dog leg. And you can't really build on it. So if you go from 69 feet all the way back here to 50 feet, and then if you divide 69 from 50 is, let's rough it off, at 20, and you divide it into quarters over here. So you lose 5 feet here, 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 and you end up here with 50 feet. So what I'm saying is, right in the middle here, this basically is 63 feet where this red line is over here, and this is where he's putting his house, and his house is going to be very close. It's probably 64 to 66 feet or something like this, and we only have 63 feet over here.
so you disagree with the accuracy of the survey?
That's what I'm
I
trying
think
to
that's
say.
You're
something that you would take.
challenging
The survey.
Timothy G. Wiley.
Yes, I am, I'm
Jr.
challenging him, that's correct.
Well, that's,
I think you should take that up in a different
If you just
venue.
look
Right.
at over here,
that's not something you should be taking up at
That's-
this board.
yes,
We can't challenge this. It
I
doesn't
know
say
you
it
can't,
on it.
but I'm just trying to explain to you
Right.
why.
But that's not
we're
relative,
set,
that's not relative to this meeting.
and Nothing's relative, I guess.
All
No,
right,
the
John,
relative is
relax.
whether or not you
John,
agree
John.
that the garage can get moved to the house and they can shrink the house. It's the only
No,
thing
I
we should
don't
be
want the
discussing.
garage to be moved to the.
So that's your position, I think we should close on that. If he does not, the adjoining neighbor does not agree that we should move the garage to closer to the house, to attach the house, and shrink the house and add in the water management, provisions. We should end I propose that we end the public section
And the
for
public
comment.
hearing.
I propose we do.
I just wanted to say something, take less than 2 minutes.
We have.
My name is Frank Pollock.
Mr. Pollock, we have a proposal quickly on the floor about closing the public forum here at the moment. Are you making it as a motion?
I'm making that as a motion, that if we do not, if there's no further discussion on the garage being attached to the house and shrinking the house and the lessening the pervious coverages, if the discussion is done with that, then we should end the public hearing. I make a motion. to do that.
Okay,
Or move
motion.
on to the next person. Give them an opportunity.
I was gonna say, I just wanna be careful about closing that before any other members of the public would be here too.
Oh,
so.
I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't.
I just wanna get any members of the public, but also to do it within, again, timely manner, get to what your initial objection is without,
To what's pertinent to this meeting.
Relevant to this application.
well, the
relevant to this
only relevance is in there too, so.
Just ask then that.
Excuse me, one moment.
Oh, I'm
please.
sorry, I know I'm bad about that.
Don't,
Like that at
that's,
home.
that's what I'm here for. Are you gonna withdraw, do you withdraw your motion then for the moment, or?
I'll withdraw for a motion if, under the, you know, that we're gonna stay within the bounds of what we're
Stay
here.
focused.
Or stay focused on what we're here for.
Okay.
I don't think we should be
Then that's what. then
talking
that-
about other subjects
Then
other
that's
than
what,
that.
then that's what we will do here too, so. Again, not to allow anyone an opportunity, you know, to say, Mr. Pollock, you said you had something to say, is it relevant,
Yes, it's brand new, and,
brand new?
yes, it's a recent court case
No,
that just came out in December of,
Is it relevant
Is
to
it
yes,
this?
rel-
it is right on point. And it's, Nordstrom versus, Town of Saybrook. The guy wanted to put up a addition, he wanted to put up a second floor on his house. And it went to, court, and he lost. The judge said that you'll be able to look into the neighbor's house, and their privacy will be gone. And this is exactly what's happening here with Sean. He's gonna put up a three-floor house. He'll be able to look into our house,
But I'm sorry, again,
and he'll be able to.
again, this
look.
discussion is not about the house. The house has already been approved for that size and that height. He's already can build it right now. But what he's proposing here is to bring the house back from your property line slightly and move the garage. That's what we're talking about here at this meeting tonight. Not, the house is already approved, it's done. There's no discussion about the house.
Well, it went to court, and it wasn't done.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
once again, Mr.
Say it
Pollock,
again.
once again, this, and again, I'm just, members of the board is trying to request as respectfully as possible, please, okay? If your objection is relevant to what is being proposed in this application, I understand there's case law on a lot of other issues as well, too. If it is pertinent to what is being proposed right now in this application, state it. If it's anything that goes around it, we need to leave that away. We've got to keep moving on this motion. We only have limited time.
Okay,
So,
may I address the chair? Okay, the other issue I had was the impervious coverage. And with the impervious coverage, he was having his driveway reduced. And he has a two-car garage, and the standard footage for a two-car garage usually is 20 feet to 24 feet. It's not 14 feet wide like he has. So what he's doing is he's making his driveway thin, so that, as if he has a one-car garage, and then he has a turnaround, and the turnaround is very small. I have numbers showing that his turnaround should be around 1,600 feet, and the length of his driveway should be close to 2,200 feet. And
duly noted, thank you.
on that note, okay, here it is here. So, his driveway is 114 feet, and that driveway should be 20 feet. He only has it as 14 feet. The turnaround he has two very large trucks. They're close to 20 feet long. They're the GMC four-door with the 6-foot bed, and it says, under the calculations, 40 times 40 equals 1,600 feet. That's what the turnaround should be in his driveway. And with the, with the driveway, 114 feet at 20, that's 2,280. So the total amount of his driveway and his turnaround should be 3,880 square feet. And he only has 1,710 square feet, and he's using that.
Mr. Mitchell, go ahead.
Okay.
He's using that to reduce.
We don't control
impervious
what vehicles the applicant drives.
But I didn't finish.
No, I
I'm
understand that,
not
but you
done.
mentioned that the applicant drives a certain vehicle.
That's correct.
We
That's
don't
really
care.
What
It
is
it has
That's,
nothing to
that's
do with
not,
this.
that's not
Okay, but
pertinent
the point
to,
I'm making is the safety.
okay.
The
there a
backing
regulation?
out of his driveway.
Is there a regulation to how much driveway you need per
Yes,
property size?
there is.
It says that? It
That's
says
what
that
he's
you
saying.
need
That's
exactly
what
a
he's
certain
saying.
number of driveway per the size of your property?
Yes, there is.
In
a
the
regu-
Winston zoning
I'm
regulations.
I'm talking about safety out here. When he backs
Well,
his,
you don't,
Okay.
we're
we
not
just-
worried, we're not
this-
talking safety.
yes, we are talking safety
No,
here.
no, we're not. We're talking about what is pertinent, what is talking about this application was brought forward. I understand you're going around making, we need to stay focused on what the application is.
Okay,
Again,
anyway, the big problem
Are
is.
you understanding what I'm saying, Mr.
Yes,
Pollak?
I understand,
Okay.
but I'm just trying to explain one thing, if you don't mind. Just give me a couple of more minutes. Where he lives, it's very difficult for him to back out into the road, and the same thing with us. You have to turn your vehicle around, and you usually drive out there. And where he lives, at 504, there's a terrific blind spot going north, and you can't see, so you have to always back your vehicles out, and that's what they do.
There's a school bus stop sign that
And
says
there's
that
a school bus
it's a blind
stop sign right there saying that there's a blind spot
Below
over
it a
there.
little bit.
And what I'm trying to say is, with the size of his driveway and the size of his turnaround, it's de minimis now. He's not gonna be able to do this. He has at least 4 or 5 vehicles. His parking lot, his driveway is usually full of vehicles, and he's just reducing this number so that he gets the impervious coverage reduced down to 34%.
Okay, Mr. Pollak, that your concern is duly noted.
I
Okay?
just have a question, because I must have read something wrong, but I've done a lot of research and a lot of work looking up the state laws and trying to find the state laws, and I feel like I probably know a lot more about the state laws than I ever did before, and I can understand if people on the board don't know a lot about the state laws. I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying that if I was you, in your shoes, and I came from a job, and it was a volunteer position, I would probably know something, but I would never have had the time to look up everything that I've been able to look up, we've been able to look up for this case, because it makes a big difference to us, because it's really changing the way that we live at the lake. And I don't know why.
How is it changing the way you're living out there?
How?
Just to-
We're gonna have a more lack of privacy. We already are getting, the jetties already coming up and out. We're gonna, we'll have people looking over our deck all the time.
Looking over
Because,
your shoulder.
you know, and in this summer, we live on our deck, excuse me?
Let me try to clarify something. What you're arguing about and the fact that you're losing your privacy because the house is gonna be
But
bigger looking.
that's one thing you're allowed to argue about. That is one
No.
thing that the boards have to look at is
You already
detrimental.
lost that battle.
No, we
The house
did
is
not
already-
lose that
Yes, you
battle.
did.
Well,
He's
Sorry,
already
did
been
not lose
approved.
that battle.
Hey, Tom, sorry, I
Because
do
it's not the
think
detriment. I don't
actually-
think you understand all of the ways that I'm right about this, and if we do go to the state, they will agree with me.
We will
The
definitely
I just
garage
wish
has
you
a
would
second
listen to me, so
story.
we don't have to do that.
The garage has a second story on it, so the privacy argument is actually relevant as it relates to the second story of the garage.
Does the second story meet the current regulations of like the 30 feet and all that?
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
It does,
So it-
but the previously approved variance had a second story added to the garage much further from their home. So this is closer to their home, and so it is actually relevant to this application.
Okay.
Because of the height, you can look into windows, and that's what his case was trying to say.
So here's, just to clarify that also, right? So here's the plans for the house. This is the updated plans.
We
There's-
never saw that. That's the other thing I'm
I'm
trying
seeing
to
it
get.
now.
So
Great.
when the garage moved over the 6 feet, the second story of the garage, while there is a second story, there's no living space. It is considered storage. and the only room that is on your side of the property, on the second story, is a bedroom, which is already at that 2 point whatever feet. So when you look at the side of this house, the bump out that's there is already there, so that doesn't change. This section here is the garage side, which is now 14.8 feet away from your property line. This is all storage. So nobody's gonna be looking through the storage.
And what if you change the storage into a living space afterwards, 2 years?
We
That's
can-
not on the
we
plans
can,
we're
what
looking
if,
at.
what if all you want and everything, this is not what this is,
Are
okay?
we allowed to have taller houses next to shorter houses in Easton?
Absolutely.
And so there you go, the end.
Well,
We're allowed to have taller houses next to shorter houses, the end.
Okay.
except for you can't, you have to consider detriment. That's part of the, detriment is not a grounds for variance. Detriment is to protect the neighbors. I mean, that's one of the
The grounds
reasons,
for
that's one of the
variance is-
principles of the zoning board.
Sorry
I
to
mean,
interrupt you.
have to have a zoning board of appeals.
No, I know, the grounds for, a variance is a hardship, that's unique to this
No,
property.
I know, I said detriment is not one of the grounds for a variance. Detriment is one of the principles, it's one of the reasons why people come to the Board of Appeals to decide, to look at the property owner that should have some use of his property and the other neighbor that should, that they have any detriment. It's in the laws, I can read it to you if you want.
So John, one of the first things you said was you would want the house to be 14 feet away from your property.
The house and the garage, that's correct.
So the house is off the question, right? We're not talking the house, we're talking the garage. The garage, the addition is gonna follow the same 14 feet, 8 inches off of your property line. So anything that's different from what was already approved essentially meets what your request was of more than 14 feet away from the property line. Is that a fair statement?
No, I still don't agree with that, because he still is, the detriment is that he's just 2 feet away from the
Well,
property.
you had said that he could turn the whole house sideways and
Yeah, he
run the
could.
feet 70 feet long,
Yeah,
14 feet from your
why
property.
doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he?
You said that
not
you could
70
do that
feet.
14
He said 40 by 40, make it
I
smaller
said 40,
too.
I said to make it smaller, 40 by
Or
40.
you said turn the house sideways,
90 degrees.
but it would be 14 feet from your property regardless of what anything has to change on the house, right? 14 feet is what you're.
I don't really know because we have so many different.
I'm saying what you said, I don't know either.
Yes.
I'm just,
Don't
you
even
said
give him
14 feet was the number. So what we're looking at now is the garage that's gonna actually be greater than the 14 feet that you asked for, tying it to a pre-existing
Right.
approval that we are not speaking on.
So how far away is it gonna be?
14 feet, 8 inches.
Oh,
The garage is 14 feet, 8 inches away from your property line.
you know what, though? I don't know, I'm kind of really confused now, because, I don't know.
I think,
I just
okay,
think that-
to wind this up here, I believe the members of this board are, I think, are understanding what your concern is.
I have a lot of concerns.
Uh,
and
no,
haven't even-
I-
wasn't able to read them last time, but the applicant was able to read something that, concerns that they had, that,
Reclaiming my time.
okay.
I think the members of this board understand the nuts and bolts concern about the privacy issue being, the property being close, and
Self-created hardship too.
excuse me?
The self-created hardship when the property was divided by the previous owner.
Okay. All understood, all duly noted, okay? So, I think if we continue talking more case law, talking more, I think it's just, once again, gonna be going around and around, giving the same point as well, too. We take your objections strenuously, seriously, okay? That, listen, as evident 2 months ago, 2 members of this board voted down this application as well, too. It's not that we're not listening to your concerns as well, too. It's a matter of just, getting this application heard and discussed in a timely manner. Just, we ask, just for purposes of time, is just to make sure you state your objection, what it is, and that's done. We have heard your objection. Okay, so I will go ahead and, with us being an hour into this application as well, does do any members of the board feel that the objection has been heard, or do we need to hear any further from them as well, too? Okay.
I feel it's been heard.
Okay, all right. And once again, I do appreciate you coming and giving your presentation, and with all due respects, I mean, the members of this board, I mean, do know some things about case law as well, despite what you may
I'm not
be led to believe as well,
saying you
too.
don't, I just haven't heard, I don't know what you know, because
Okay.
how could I know that?
Okay.
I haven't heard it.
And our town officials do work hard for everybody, not just particular
Oh,
people as
I
well.
have
so.
no complaint, but I love the town officials,
So,
all people that work in the
We're
town, I
gonna,
have no complaint
we're,
about
at this
them.
time, we're gonna go ahead and move on, and maybe give the Spezials give the Spezials an opportunity to answer your objection as well, too,
You know,
okay?
the
Could
thing
you
is,
just ask him how he's gonna build a house 2 feet away from the property line, and then why he has to use his neighbor's property to build a house?
May I say something? I think that's been long established, that the house is not being built 2 feet from the property line. The house already is 2 feet from the property line.
Well, he's gonna have to tear it down. I
So-
mean,
so-
if he
yeah,
digs,
but he's-
if he digs a cellar, how's the dirt, he has to go down 6 feet, how's the dirt not gonna cross over my property line?
He's gonna have to use correct construction practices that the town will manage, John,
Yes.
to do that. He's gonna have to do silt fences, he's gonna have to do all sorts of things that the town permits and manages. That's where, and if you have an objection, if this gets approved and you have an objection during that time, then you could say, hey, you know, I don't like what this is happening, and this is the reason, but he's, just to be clear to everybody, he's not just building a house. The house is already at the 2 feet. You keep saying the 2 feet. What they're asking to do is to reduce the size of the house, reduce the pervious coverages, move the
reduce
garage
size
to the
of
house.
They're reducing the size of the house?
They're reducing the size of the house, yes, I think that's.
Reducing
From
the
what?
size of
What
the
are- what
pre,
house- how-
remember, we're not working off of the house that's physically standing there today.
Are we
We are
reducing the
working
size of
off,
the garage, you mean?
No, the house.
We are working off of the house that was already approved. So the original pictures that you had of the home are already approved, there's already a variance in place that was, said yes to that. That was along with taking the existing garage,
know
making
about
the,
that.
well, that's what we're working off of. We're working off of the pre-approved house. The
So-
only thing we're looking at is the garage. Taking the garage from 14 feet, 6 inches, moving it to 14 feet, 8 inches, and moving it from 100, I'm sorry,
You just
moving
said
it
the house is
from.
getting smaller.
It is.
So the
They
house has
shrunk
already
the
been
house.
approved. The house has already been
I know it's
approved.
been approved, but
So
So
they
we
were at
shouldn't be
2?
discussing that. It's already been approved. That's already, that battle
Well,
is already
maybe it
lost.
is, just for peace of mind, right? So a pre-approval on the house was 2 foot 1 inches. After
Oh,
listening,
you mean the footprint is getting smaller?
The
It's getting
over-
smaller by 5 inches.
the footprint, it's getting smaller by, I think it was greater than 5 inches, because they added another 9 feet to the north side of the property. So they're shrinking the overall house. After getting denied at the last time, all of this was redone. The whole house, everything was redesigned to meet some of your requests. You know, we had some concerns, Mary Ann had concern on the grinder pump. You brought up the grinder pump. You moved the garage to avoid the grinder pump problem. They are leaving the well in the same spot. They adjusted the depth of the garage. They have moved it. They've done everything that you asked them to do the last time. And they've even shrunk the main building less than what they were already approved for. So while, yes, I totally understand that it's going to be a change, but what they've changed, they're doing everything that I can tell, they're doing everything they can to appease as many people as possible.
All right, so what, my point is that the reason I don't understand is because I don't know if we looked at the same thing that you looked at. Did you get something that showed that? Because we didn't really come up with.
No,
it
this
didn't
was
seem
already
like that to
approved.
us.
This was already
No, I
approved
know they
very.
Well, he did have a,
So that was already
on
approved.
the
They can do
presentation,
that today. if they
There was an overlay that showed the red.
He's talking about it right now.
There was he showed it to us
He showed it to
on
all
the
of us.
screen.
It was up on the
it showed
Right,
a
but
red.
I didn't, we were able to get something of,
We were never able to get
a
that.
survey, but we asked several times if we could have the information that we didn't have the,
Shane,
I-
was it
in other words,
uploaded?
were they turned in with,
Yeah, the whole
It was
This
all.
whole thing
whole
was
packet was
uploaded,
given
and
to you.
everything that was presented to our office Was
Was
shown
it-
to John
It was not
and
shown to me, I did not see
No,
that.
sorry, guys, it was available on open.gov.
So
It was
when was
uploaded.
it available there?
Here's, if you wanna look at the footprint today, I mean, the house is only,
No, we just didn't know it changed, that's all I'm trying to say.
48 and 7/6, 54 feet wide.
They would have to send letters and all that stuff, right, to the adjoining neighbors?
Yeah.
They had to send.
Oh,
that-
yes, yeah.
Yeah, so just so we're all clear, like,
We didn't
you
get
did,
it,
you
no
did
letter.
receive a letter, you did receive the plans, everything, if you
get
chose
that.
not to look at them or failed to look at them is not anyone's concern.
And with that, I think we really need to move on.
Thank you. May I propose to end the public hearing?
Okay.
I just would like to make the comment
Uh,
that I
there-
didn't get, last time I didn't
There's
get a
there's a
chance.
proposal on the floor now, again, once again, to close the public hearing here. Do we have, I mean,
Oh, one thing we have to do, we do have, we have to, all right, we already said it. And you know what, we're not just doing this for ourselves, we're doing it for the town of Winsted. Because to have, and I won't go in any explanation of it, because I know you don't believe me, and I know you don't agree with me. But,
okay, with that, we thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Need a second?
You want the rest of it?
To close.
That was my
False.
motion.
It was a motion to close the public hearing here. In a matter of fairness, if we can, and again, I'll look for the consensus of the board. I want to give the Spezialis an opportunity to answer what the concerns were as part of the public forum there too. And we'll just, once that is done, then we'll go ahead and close that. Is that acceptable to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So, we'll just go ahead. I'm gonna invite the Spezialis, please step back to the table, and, you guys were aware of, you guys heard what the Pollock's concerns are?
Hopefully I got all of them in my head. The concern of the construction, almost all the construction can be done from our property, all of it can be. My neighbor to the south, Mike Gonzalez, had given me a letter that gave full access, if need be, to use his property to enter mine. But we don't believe that we need to use that, but in case we do, he gave a letter that he submitted to the town that gave full access.
I can't hear him.
One of the other concerns was, and I don't know that it was fully addressed, was there is already an approval for a second story over my garage that's currently there. So my garage is 14 foot 6 inches away with an approval to put a second story on it. There is no change. If I do that, I'm still in, if they have this concern that it would look into their home, it changes nothing because my garage is also in the same plane as the front of their house currently. I'm just moving my garage closer to my house, or connecting it to my house. So that situation, I believe, doesn't change.
Can I just ask a quick clarifying question about that? So you're saying that the existing garage is parallel to the home? Because I looked
Yes,
at the property and it didn't look like.
Within a few feet, if you look at.
Right, but it's not as, it's not as.
Their front door and my garage door is within a couple feet distance from the street.
But what I'm saying is, it's like you're going from 2 lineal feet of parallel structures to 20 feet of lineal
No,
feet of
It's way
parallel.
more. It's probably 18 feet of our garages parallel to their house.
Currently.
Yeah, like the distance of our garage from the street or the distance of their front door from the street. So if there was an impact, we already have that approval. He had no concern with that, with me putting a second story on my garage in the position, in the current situation it's in now. We're just connecting it to the house, and we're improving the distance for them from their property line and the neighbors from the south, Gonzalez. It just happens to be our property widens, so it makes the condition better in every situation.
Okay.
Have I addressed every concern?
It's
that
just, it's hard that because the house is not cited on the plan, so we just kind of have to take your word for it.
Oh, their house?
Yeah.
May I say something? Last time, the proposal was, the garage was to be over at that 2.1, right?
No.
Say it again?
8 feet.
The last time we were here.
It was here.
It was gonna be 8
It
feet
came
away from
straight
the
off of
property
that
line.
mark.
Yeah.
It came straight after that mark.
And
So,
then it-
and then- so now it's going where?
6
Shift
feet
it to
in
6
from
feet.
that wall.
Now it's going additional 6 feet in. And the concerns last time, like the root of all the concerns that the adjoining neighbor had was that it was, the garage was too close, was going to be built too close to their house.
Correct.
That was the concern. So you guys went and changed your design, moved it 6 feet, and 6 feet at Highland Lake is a lot. So 6 feet, you moved it 6 feet away from the prep line. So you took a good effort to appease them and keep the peace. And last time we were all here, I thought that was the main issue. Because the other stuff doesn't really change, like the house, it's a tight lot, nothing else really changes besides that. And it was already approved. So-
We did add up a concern for the well and the macerator pump.
And you
yeah.
made a change to not move the well
Yes.
and not, cause that was, so last time we were all here, it was grinder pump, well, garage too close to the house. And you satisfied all
And the
those.
AC units.
And the
And-
AC.
And the AC
and
units,
the
and you
propane.
moved
And the
those.
propane.
And the propane
And the
tank.
propane. Yeah.
That was
So
just-
every complaint that happened last time, you guys addressed appropriately and changed your design to appease the adjoining neighbor.
We believe so.
That's all I have to say about this.
Okay. Any other comments on that? Okay. Do we have any other members of the public who we have not heard from yet this evening that wish to speak to this application? Any other members of the public have yet to be heard this evening on this application? Any other members of the public who have yet to be heard this evening on this application? Hearing none, I will close the public comment portion of this hearing. Mr. Spezialy, I'll give you folks the final word.
I hope that with our great effort to meet the demands of the town, the engineers on my end, representing the town's end, and working with Shane, Jeremy, and Jeff, I hope that we met all the requirements, and I hope they vote for our project.
Thank you guys very much. Okay. With that, I will go ahead and close this, the hearing and read into the record the following motion. Motion to grant variances per section 3D5C of the zoning regulations for application ZBA number 25-12, application for the demolition of an existing single-family home, two-car garage, and associated site improvements, and the construction of a new single-family home with the following request for variances. South side yard setback variance of 22.6 feet from existing 30.8-foot setback to proposed 12.4-foot setbacks, and a 14.6% overage of impervious coverage in accordance with a site plan prepared by KCC Consulting LLC, provided with the application dated June 25th, 2025, and revised to 10/1/25. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion by seated members of the board who are eligible to vote?
The only thing that gives me pause, because we have, and Ryan brought this up at the last meeting, we have approved garages to be attached to homes before. They've been approved before I was on this board. One was approved since I've been on this board. And the ones that I'm aware of are parallel to other garages on the adjoining properties. This is parallel to living space. So that's the only thing that kind of gives me pause on this application. And I don't know that there's, like, I don't have like a good solution for it, except to, perhaps sometimes Paul asks for a condition that, let's say, a garage's use is the garage's use, and that goes into the land records, so that folks can't, in the future, a new owner can't turn it into living space or something like that. Prohibition against that could, I think, could abate any potential future issues of related to privacy.
I don't necessarily, given the plans we have in front of us, I think this came up last time, because I did mention that last time. We can't like pontificate on what's gonna, happen in the future, so I think that the garage is the use of that space is garage. And if it's on the plans as use of space of the garage, then that's what we're approving. We can't say that, I know which application you're
Because
talking
we
about.
did put that condition on that other application. It
Yeah.
actually went in as a condition, didn't it, Shane?
Yeah.
That one was detached, right?
That
That
was-
was a standalone garage.
Standalone.
That was a
shed- That was a storage shed that we
Yeah.
were afraid that somebody might at some
Turn
point.
it into living
Turn it into
Into
like an
like an
ADU.
ADU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because technically, we can't tell the applicants, if they wanna set up chairs in their garage and like, put a TV in there, like, we can't say that, like, you can't do that. Like, they're allowed to do that.
Are you talking second story or main?
Just the
The main
second,
use
I'm
would be the
really
garage.
talking about the second story.
So, and again, I don't think you'll ever I don't think you're ever going to be able to control that. I don't know how you would
Regulate it.
regulate it, people are gonna
Follow
do
up.
what they're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't necessarily think that the second story use of that would change the
No,
the
and my,
purview of what we're looking
yeah,
at.
and my concern with that other one was that it was a large shed. I think it was like just under 600 square feet. And in Connecticut building code, you can be just under 600 square feet for a detached accessory structure. So my concern at that time was that structure may be down the road, because it had every characteristic of a house, that it could potentially, all it lacked was a sewer line, and then it could be used as a house. But in this particular instance, they have a whole proposed beautiful house. I really don't think they're gonna be spending much time in that garage other than to park their cars. I'm just hard pressed to believe that they're gonna be,
Oh, yeah,
going
that's-
from the deck, from the beautiful lake, going to their bedrooms, going stuff to go hang out above the garage. I just
I'm
don't
not
see that.
suggesting that is these owners' plan. I'm just saying that we're not putting any kind of protection in place for
I
a
don't think
future
we
use.
can on the interior
Yeah,
of the
I think
house, we
It's-
can't.
It's,
An attached
We
garage.
can't do that. If it's an attached garage, we can't tell them, if they want to set up a pool table in their garage, they can set up a pool table. If they want to, hang one hat in there, they can do that. We can't say anything that they want to do in the inside. What the town can say is that if you have a shed, and you built a shed that's so close to look like a house, and then they turn into an ADU apartment, that's a different story. That was my concern then, was that they could potentially, who knows, and I'm not saying that they would or wouldn't, but potentially that particular accessory structure had every characteristic to a house. In this case, this does not. This is a garage, and that's it. Whatever they do in the interior, we can't say anything to do with what they do in the interior. It has nothing to do with us.
any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor of this application, please signify aye. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All opposed? Motion's 4-1, the application passes.
Thank you very much.
To your comment, I do have a question as we continue on here.
Are we continuing?
Well, not with that.
Oh.
Not with that. This is, so we had put contingencies on other approvals. We did, 224 Torrenford Street was a garage that we put a contingency that they went through inland wetlands for approval because of how close it was to the pond. I don't know if you were here for that meeting. This one was this was June's meeting.
Yeah, it wasn't here in
So
June.
we approved that with the contingency that they would follow through with a wetlands approval because of the proximity to the ponds. We also did 206 per truck trail, which was that garage, and we put the stipulation that they couldn't put a building space on, but they were building that garage at 100 foot 1 inch, and we had asked for inland wetlands approval to confirm the drainage, the footing drains, and the digging area would be within.
Second.
Right, I do remember that.
And
I think wasn't a contingency, could be, was it living space or was it contingency, we
no,
didn't
we
put?
put a wetlands contingency on that one for their drainage, for their footing
Yeah, I
drains.
think Paul was concerned about the footing drains on that one, yeah.
Did that ever happen? I know, there's a
Yes,
foundation there now.
it did.
So they did go through the
Rob
wetlands?
Colabella brought it to
Yeah,
wetlands
they updated that and brought that.
with an
Okay.
updated plan with footing drains. But it's a good point, like, we should figure out some communication workflow to follow up on things like that. Is that what you're driving at?
Yeah, that's kind of where, so when we put if we create a contingency on an approval, how does that get monitored? Like, so.
Well, the staff monitor.
We monitor it.
Okay, well, that's what, just because
Yeah, I don't think that's in our I don't think it's in our jurisdiction as just a board
No, but if we put a contingency on something, we need to know that it's being followed, things are, I mean, that house that was, in the Cove, that during COVID, we did all that concrete work, the patios that
Oh,
went
yeah.
all the way down to the water, and Mary Ann said, he needs to do some kind of follow-up testing of river.
Right, the
How do
perk
we know
test.
that that's gonna happen?
I don't know if, like, cause I think and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our function of the board is not enforcement. We're not code enforcement, we're just approvals.
Oh, no, I understand that, but we are we're putting that contingency in place.
Yeah.
So I think
Well,
we have a
I
responsibility.
think it kind of falls
to-
unfortunately on
should
Shane's.
almost, maybe
So-
what it's, does that go in old business? Is that something that can carry through old business on our agenda that just is a simple statement that,
Staff can let us
So
know.
25
I'll be honest, that one, we let it sit, we gave it, let the applicant make his choice, because Tom Grimaldi said he did not agree with that contingency. He's like, you're not going to see anything different in 5 years than you're seeing now. It's not up to us to come to you to remove a contingency or a condition. We put it to the applicant and said, hey, if you want to come before ZBA, this is what our town engineer feels. He let it sit. That is a harder one. That's not your normal.
which one's that one?
The one with all the concrete, with coming back and
that
doing
one.
like perk tests in
Yeah, yeah.
5 years. That's a harder one to follow. Obviously,
Yep.
that's a long-term thing.
Yep.
Staff changes, right? So that's a more difficult one to follow. But it's also on the land records. So if a property like that were to be sold, you would hope that a title searcher or somebody would be looking for those backup documents to meet that,
Yep.
those conditions of that, of that permit. But that is a harder one to
That was
keep
tough.
track of.
I wasn't here
Yeah.
for that one. Just the ones that we approve it with some sort of a contingency that even if it comes up as soon as once it's done with wetlands, then it gets added to the agenda as old business. Hey, they met the contingency, this one's moving forward.
I think it's a really good point, because even Paul brought up at the last meeting, like, can we know what we approved when we deferred to Tom Grimaldi on that other application? And it would be good to know what we approved, because we deferred to Tom Grimaldi. I agree with that.
Well, with any court case or something, if a judge makes a ruling, say, like he releases somebody on bond or something, and they attach conditions to it, it's not necessarily up to that particular judge to make sure that the order's being carried out. It's up to your law enforcement. It's up to your district attorneys or whatnot too.
So it kind of falls into code enforcement then,
It-
because it has a code enforcement.
Yeah.
It might be like Jeff's job. I'm just saying the current code enforcement officer would have to go there and say, okay, you did do this. And as I'm thinking about this too, I'm not sure if Winston allows ADU apartments, and I'm stuck on that one thing.
They do. You can do accessory
You
apartments.
can do accessory apartments?
I'm not 100% sure on Highland Lake, but yes.
It's a special exception.
It's
I
a
would-
special
I
exception. I
would-
wasn't
Yeah, so
sure
you would,
about that.
so in that particular instance, if they did build this outbuilding and it was built you know, to all
They
these
have to come to
specifications.
planning and zoning.
They would have to go to planning and
Yeah.
zoning to change the use of it. So
Correct.
it'd be a
Right.
special permit.
Correct.
It would be a special
Correct.
exception.
And it would be a public hearing.
And there'd be a public hearing, so
Correct.
at that point, yeah, and if it passes, then that's.
passes.
Then it passes, so
Right.
I think, you know, anticipating, it's all great concerns we all have, but it's, we can't, I don't think we can necessarily like, you know, project into the future, they have to go through all the appropriate channels.
Yeah, just as long as there's peace of mind that it's happening, that's all. The
Or that it's
communication.
been addressed, yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm not suggesting that we continue to stay involved in the,
Agreed.
yeah,
Can't.
but just to know if there is a short-term, requirement like that, that it loops back to us so we know what the conclusion was.
And it can, honestly, it could be an email, right? I mean, it could just be
Yeah.
a,
I don't, yeah, I guess I just don't know, we'd have to just determine our role in that, we're just whether we're, you know, we have jurisdiction for that, cause I'm not sure. Just
oh, well, we're not enforcing it. We're just, all I was
It's
asking was
a
just,
follow-up.
just a follow-up.
Just wondering if, you know, the contingencies that we do put in place, I mean, I think it's a valid question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will we have an avenue to complain, like, let's just say, for example, that we did put some kind of contingency, and then like, let's just say they didn't do it, would we meet again? Or would it just fall onto like, you know, Ryan saw this and say, he has like an avenue to make like a legitimate complaint?
Well,
Or would
so-
that fall onto you just walking into the zoning office and just making a complaint, like, for example, too, like, cause in some towns, like, to even get to make like in Torrington, for example, to make a complaint about your neighbor or something, you have to make a written complaint, like, to get like something enforced. So in this instance, if we did that, would there be like a creation of a
Well, why do we
follow-up?
have to get that complicated about it? If it's something that we've put in as a contingency and wanna know if it's been followed, why can't we just check with the building department and ask the question and get an answer and be done with it?
I don't think
one way or the
anything's
other?
saying that you can't now, though, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
we
Like,
could
you
ask,
can't-
we could always ask.
Yeah, cause
I just
it's all
found that-
public record, so you could do that, any
Yes,
permit.
Paul, but we haven't though. I mean, Ryan
Yeah.
asked a question about it and nobody knew the answer.
No, I understand, it's all on, but open.gov is on there, so all this stuff is on there, and if you
Oh,
go and
okay, then
communicate
Ryan, you
with
should have asked.
with the town, no, I'm not saying you shouldn't
No,
have.
it's just, like, it's just something that, like, to have.
It's not like that at all.
To keep it in the records, that's all it is, right? Just to, so it ends up in the minutes of everything that, like, the contingency was added, then it goes through wetlands has it in their minutes, and then it comes back with a stamp, rubber stamp saying contingency is met, contingency's gone, project goes through, goes to the building department now can approve the building permit, right? And that's kind of the process it takes. The only thing that we don't have is we don't see it, which maybe we don't need to see it.
I don't know if yeah, but that's, I totally hear what you're saying, it's just, we have no jurisdiction at that point.
I'm not looking for
That's-
jurisdiction, it's
yeah,
just.
It's just,
peace of mind.
yeah, it's closure, but I understand, but I don't think, we don't have any reason for that closure, like we said, it's okay, if they don't do that and they don't follow, that's like their problem. Like, we're removed from that, we already did our job.
Well, it's more along the lines of if we say that we ask for something, and then
What-
Jeff
what
says
if-
it's not
what if-
needed,
And
then-
if they-
Would it be
No,
something to
that
where
would never
it's-
happen. I mean, if it ever, so again, we would not, if we thought it wasn't needed and we had validation from a professional that it wasn't needed, again, it would be on the applicant to come back to you to remove that.
remove the
We wouldn't just in office remove a condition, because.
So that's a simple answer too,
Yeah.
right? We assume that it's 100% good and done unless we hear from it again.
Yeah, that's right. If one of your conditions were to not be met, it would come before you from the applicant.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
That's our,
All right. Moving on, did everyone get a chance to briefly look over the minutes here?
I did.
Any additions, corrections? If not, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the August 26, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Motion's been made, second.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes? All opposed? Okay. Do we have any other correspondence?
No.
Any other business to come before this board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn?
Second.
Ryan first and Ellie second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Amen.
I always love, Ellie, I love your enthusiasm at adjournment.
Everybody hit their mics.
Thank you very much. Yeah.